What's up everybody? Sergeant Michael Eggert here. Today, my goal is to teach you how to do a muscle up. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the first question you might actually have for me is why the heck are you wearing these wrist straps? And I'll tell you why. Is one, I wear both of them for symmetry, but two is because, you can see this, 3 years ago I broke my wrists and had to have two surgeries. One was a carpal tunnel surgery, the other one was to put a plate in and do like a, whatever they call it, a reduction, and basically put the head of the bone back on. And yeah, 3 years ago I broke my wrist, so there's still a little bit of tweak pain every time I do anything pushing like that. You don't necessarily need these, they do help for wrist support, but that's why I wear them. So I just want to get that out of the way before we started. Okay, so there's a couple of phases to the muscle up. The first one is going to be, let's call it the load phase. The load phase is where you're creating this power in your body in order to get the explosive strength to come up over the bar. So let's go over that first. The way I want you to do that is I want you to grab onto the bar, okay? And you're going to keep your arms bent. You do not want to be fully unlocked, okay? So you're going to be basically flex your muscles into place. You don't have to keep your arms fully extended, but slightly bent, loaded, so you're supporting your body weight not on your joints and ligaments, but your muscles are actually contracting and stopping your body from swinging out. So the first phase is, remember, flex those muscles, come out. That's literally all I want you to do. Come out, and just practice that swinging out and feeling that point where you're about to start coming the other way. Okay, so phase two, we are actually going to throw in a slight kip into this because this is for your development into the strict muscle up where you don't kip. But what you want to do is you want to come out, and once you start, phase two starts once you reach that maximum point where you're about to start swinging backwards. So phase one is swinging out. Phase two is where you're starting to swing backwards, so right at that apex. And what you're going to do is you're going to ride that swing backwards. So you're going to come out, and you're gonna try to force yourself at an angle. Pretend, here's the bar right here, you're gonna force yourself at an angle, like about 45 degrees backwards, okay? It's not just directly upwards, because you'd run into the bar if you're underneath it, right? At the same time, you're going to tuck your knees in. You're gonna contract your lower body in a very forceful manner, and you're gonna throw your knees into your body at that 45 degrees. So you're basically forcing your body to go into that 45 degree angle with your knees. So I'll show you what that looks like. So here, you're gonna swing out, and the knees are gonna come up. Knees are gonna come up. So let's reset. Okay, so we're tucking our knees, shoving them 45 degrees. So here, tuck. Here, tuck. Let's reset one more time. You're gonna swing out. Okay, that's phase one. As soon as you reach the apex, knees up. Okay, so that's phase two, knees 45 degrees. You're aiming your body 45 degrees backwards. So phase three is going to be probably the most important part because it's where the strength comes in, and it's going to be a full-on pull down with your elbows. So what a lot of people do is they'll pull out and they'll flail their elbows outwards like that, just trying to get just the bare of their chest over the bar, and then kind of like struggle and then push up. That's where the chicken wing comes in. That's where just trying to like launch yourself over the bar. That's one way to learn how to do it, but again, I don't want you to chicken wing. The way I teach it is I want you to consciously think about touching your elbows together, okay? You won't be able to do it in transition to over the bar, but it's going to cause this huge contraction of muscle as you pull down. So my knees are going into my chest, I'm pulling down and I'm bringing my elbows together. Obviously my hands will be in the same spot, but bring your elbows down and push them together because you want to contract as much as you can. And the goal is to get yourself into that position where you're already transitioning over the bar. Phase three is just a huge pull. Try to touch your elbows together and then hit that bar, okay? You can rest once you're on the bar because you're just gonna transition into a dip, but and it'll look a little more smooth as you go along. But yes, so phase three is the pull and riding that momentum you're creating with your knees backwards, up, and over the bar. So I'll show you what that looks like. So phase one, remember, swing. That's the phase one. Make sure you're loaded. Phase two, is the 45 degrees. Okay, and then phase 4 is pulling down. Pulling down. Okay, so you're pulling as hard as you can. And that's where the strength from 10 to 15 pull-ups comes in that I recommend, because again, you'll get so much more out of this if you start doing them with correct form rather than try to cheat them and get over there. Make sure you're pulling down, consciously thinking, I'm gonna touch my elbows together even though I'm not going to. I'm gonna ride that tuck in, and I'm aiming to kind of like curl my body over on top of the bar. So there's 3 phases we've gone over. We've gone over the swing, the loaded swing, which is phase 1. As soon as you reach that apex, we're starting to swing back. Phase 2 initiates. You're gonna be pulling your knees in. Phase 2 and 3 almost happen at the same exact time, by the way. So phase 2, you're gonna be pulling in, and you're basically crunching your whole body together, touching your elbows together and riding that bar, or to the point where you're over that bar. Step 4 is going to be the transition phase, where you grab onto the bar, or you re-grip on the bar, and you get ready for that dip position. You push up into that dip. So I'll show you what that looks like. So right now my grip is neutral. I'm in a regular, I can do pull-ups all day like this. I'm gonna go into my phase 1, 2, and 3, and on 4, I'm going to re-grip and push into a dip. So here you go, ready. So I let go of the bar slightly, I'm on top now, and just push up into a dip, okay? Let's reset, show you that again. So here I'm grabbing onto the bar. Phase 1, 2, 3, and then we'll go into 4. So 1, 2, 3, here, and then now we're 4, which is, we're already at like the second part of 4, because we've already switched our grip, and we're pushing up into that dip. And it's once you reach that point where you would be restricting yourself from holding onto the bar any longer, that you need to loosen your grip and allow your body to transition and then push up. And you'll get it as you go along. It's gonna be different for everybody, but there's gonna be a point where you're coming up, and if I were to hold on as hard as I could here, I'd go like this, and then I'd resist against myself. So what you wanna do is you wanna go to that point, and then phase 4, let go just a tiny little bit, not completely, because you might miss the bar that way, but just open up your hands, loosen up your grip, allow it to rotate on the bar like this, all right? And then once you're like that, you're gonna be pushing up. So that's phase 4. And phase 4 is the end of the muscle up, okay? You transition, you're all the way up on top of the bar. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4. A couple of pro tips that I would recommend would be, 1, definitely do this with a partner if you can, because that's the easiest way to learn how to do a muscle up, because it's just so much more fluid. You're not scared of getting on top of the bar, because a lot of it comes down to mentality of it. Like, people are just actually scared, or they don't know how it feels to be on top of the bar. So they're like, oh, I'm so high up. And then once they're up there, they get rid of that shock value, they come back down, easy money. The other tip that I would have is pretend when you're at the top, right? Pretend like or when you're on your way to the top, pretend that there's an invisible bar that you're trying to hit your head on. It's like above the bar that you're on. So I'm here, I'm pretending there's a bar up here that I'm trying to hit my head on. Back kind of behind me, because as I'm pulling and contracting and throwing my knees up, I'm reaching for that bar. Because what a lot of people do is they'll try to tuck their head over the bar, and they do that too soon, and that'll actually limit the amount of movement that you have, or that momentum you have to get over the bar, because you're trying to cut it short and get over the bar. If you continue looking up, it'll keep your body open, and it'll drive your body a little higher, and then it'll allow you to transition nice into that phase 4 and push up into the top of the dip portion of the muscle up. But yeah, that's pretty much it that I have for tips and tricks to get your first muscle up, or to improve your muscle up. Again, phase 1, just swing out into that little pendulum. As soon as you start coming back, phase 2 and 3 almost happen at the same time. 2 is where you're gonna push your knees at that 45 degrees and your whole body's gonna go at 45 degrees. Phase 3 is that pull down and try to touch your elbows together. Phase 4, as you come up to that point where you have to let go a little bit, you loosen up your grip, you transition over the bar, and then you push up into the dip. And that is a muscle up. And again, they get easier over time, especially if you do them in the correct form. But that's all I have for y'all. If y'all like this video, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you want to do. I did this video because a lot of people were demanding, hey, I think you should do a muscle up tutorial since you're very good at them. So yeah, here it is. Let me know what you think. Thanks, guys.